I'm upping the stakes of the classic nothing to a knife CS2 challenge. Starting with a weekly drop worth $1.33, we'll do profitable trade ups until I can attempt a contract for one of the most iconic skins in the entire game, the KARAMBIT Blue Gem in Factory New. Things are going really well so far. We're already approaching $350, so let's see if our first contract today can continue to build on that. It's actually a similar trade up to one we did 2 weeks ago, however this time around we're actually increasing the floats to instead go for minimal wear outcomes. It's a super simple combination with 10 CZ75 Tigers from the Breakout collection, with an adjusted average float under 0.5. I did actually use a mix of Battle-Scarred and Well-Worn inputs, but I made sure to keep the Deagle Conspiracy under the minimal wear threshold. We've got a 66% chance to profit, we just don't want to see the foul play. Alrighty, first contract today. Not too expensive, so let's just go for it. Desert Eagle Conspiracy? That's exactly what we're after. SkinSwap is giving you a skin worth up to $50 entirely for free when you complete your first trade using the link in the description. If you want to upgrade your loadout, you can trade your skins for brand new ones in just a few clicks. Plus, their market tab now includes the cheapest offers from Chinese marketplaces, so you can access the best skin prices without needing a Chinese ID or bank account. You can deposit using card, Cash App, or crypto, and if you ever want to cash out, SkinSwap makes it easy with instant sell to PayPal, Venmo, or crypto. They also run free daily, weekly, and monthly giveaways, and every completed trade earns you extra chances to win. Use the link below to claim your free skin worth up to $50 and receive a 3% lifetime sales bonus. Thanks again to SkinSwap for supporting the channel. Our next contract features skins from a collection I don't think we've used so far in this series, Prisma 2. We're trying to look for Mach 10 discotheques around the 0.26 float mark, and then combine them with low float Battle-Scarred inputs from the Genesis terminal. I have been using Genesis skins in just about every episode recently, and I think they've pretty much become a staple filler skin at this point. Lucky for me, there are a ton of discotheques close to market value on CS Money, so it didn't actually take me much time to fill these contracts. I managed to pick up inputs for 4 trade ups at about $45 each. At this price, all of the outcomes are profitable in theory, although the full throttle probably loses out by a couple of cents after you take fees into account. Ideally, we want to see the Oligarch or Glock Bullet Queen, but I'm honestly not too fussed. 4 contracts lined up here then. No need to mess around, let's see what we get. Another Oligarch, alright. For our 85th contract of the series, yes, we are actually approaching 100 contracts already in just 6 episodes. We're taking inspiration from this suggestion on Trade Up Lab, a mix of M-Frequentis leaded glass with P250 Asimovs, all in Battle-Scarred. I wasn't convinced this was going to work out when I first saw it, but decided I'd play around with inputs for a couple of minutes and was indeed able to find a small margin. I swapped out one of the leaded glass for a PP Bison High Roller from the same Spectrum 2 collection and landed on this final combination. To be honest, for a contract at nearly $100, I would generally be looking for a high percentage ROI, but hey, at the end of the day, we've got an 80% chance to profit, given we'll realistically lose out on the Empress due to fees, so it's not too bad. We want to see the PP Bison or M4 here. Still kind of crazy to me that the Judgment of Anubis is the same price as the Shantico's Fire nowadays. But anyway, can we see that Chroma collection? Yes, we can. Okay, very nice. That's a best case scenario. I'm giving away an AK-47 Vulcan in Field Tested this month. For your chance to win, simply like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment. I'll pick the winner on July 31st. Good luck. Now, of course, the new Armory collections aren't quite so new at this point, given it's been a couple of weeks. However, I was actually buying inputs for these next trade-ups on the first day they became tradable. Whenever a new collection is released, it almost always offers up a ton of trade-up opportunities, especially for classified and covert skins, as they tend to be the most hyped early on. Therefore, it was a no-brainer for me to try and find a mix that would let us go for some of the new skins. I played around with float and filler combinations, but simply ended up back with Genesis. I needed roughly 0.2 float inputs from the new collections to run alongside some 0.1 fillers. However, at the time, those low float inputs were scarce and demanded quite a bit of overpay. So I simply set up some buy orders, as you can see here, and let CS Float do the work for me. Since both the Arabesque and Spytek collection skins all pretty much feature the full 0 to 1 float range, the combination I'm running works regardless of which inputs I use. So I set up buy orders for all 6 of the restricted skins spanning both collections. When I first set up the contract, the calculator was returning 161% profitability based on the prices at the time. However, there was obviously a week gap between then and when I could actually use the skins. While this can sometimes result in the profitability dropping slightly, it was actually the opposite here, as the new skin prices increased throughout the first week, improving profitability to 168.5%. This is going to be a hard contract to replicate in the future, as I got in really early, but it's a banger. New collections. I know you guys have been waiting for this, but unfortunately, I've somehow messed up the recording again or accidentally deleted it. So I've now invented a totally new way of revealing CS2 Trade Ups. I call it the Steam History Reveal. If you go onto your Steam inventory, click the More drop-down button and view inventory history, you can actually see all of the actions you've made to your inventory items, such as moving them to storage units, trades, or completing trade ups. So I'm going to use that page to reveal this outcome. Look at this, my friends. Got the snipping tool out, but you've never seen someone use it like this before. We're going to reveal the first trade up here. I definitely don't know what's coming. We're hoping for that Spytek or Arabesque collection. Boom! Emphraonis Fatal Glitch. That's incredible. Trade up number 2. Only Arabesque skins in this one. Mirror Mosaic. Okay, not what we're after. Let's go again. We could get another Fatal Glitch here. No. Another Glock. Awesome. 4th attempt. We'd really love to see that M4A4 Phallic. Boom! All right. Let's go, boys. I think this is currently the most expensive classified of the new skins, so that's what we want to see. Final one. Let's finish it off strong. Ooh! Back-to-back M4s. Hell yeah, man. That is absolutely huge profits right there. For our next contract, we're going to combine Dreams and Nightmares skins with several CZ Auto Yellow Jackets to attempt to go for some Falchion Collection coverts. I began searching for 3 StatTrak Yellow Jackets under 0.206 and was lucky enough to find a few at pretty much market price. We then needed 7 Dreams and Nightmares fillers, and I found that around the 0.13 float mark, the Abyssal Apparitions tended to be cheaper than the Rapid Eye Movement, so swapped most of those out. Our final contract cost us $77, and we've only got a 30% chance to profit. However, both the Hyper Beast and Aquamarine Revenge would offer up some serious returns. On the flip side, we'd lose about $8 on the Nightwish, or roughly $14 on the Starlight Protector. We're really going for some more expensive trade-ups lately. I think once you reach that $300 to $400 mark, it allows for a bit more risk as you've got more flexibility with the bankroll. Anyhow, we would love to see that AK Aquamarine Revenge here. Come on, let's go for it in 3, 2, 1. Falchion Collection? Ooh. That is not what we were after. I thought today might also be a great chance for us to have a look at what the end goal is. How much money do we actually need to be able to complete a trade up for the KARAMBIT Blue Gem? And so I'm here on CS2 Locker and they actually have a cool reverse trade up calculator. So here I'm going to select KARAMBIT Case Hardened. We need to put in the float. It needs to be 0.6. I can... All right, maximum 0.069999 float. Then if I scroll down, we will actually see all of the different inputs that we can use to do a trade up for this. Obviously, it doesn't make sense to use skins like the AWP Lightning Strike or the Fire Serpent, which are really popular play skins. But if I just have a look around here, I'm keeping a rough eye on the price, although we will have to go and actually check if we're going to have to do any kind of low flow overpay, depending on the float cap of the skin. So far, the Kraken looks like it could be an option. Obviously not a very popular gun. And I'm just going to put together a little Google sheet here. Going to keep track of all of the skins that I think will be possible so that I can go and take a look on the various sites. Of course, I guess the Victoria is probably not a bad shout. 0.0525. Of course, depending on whether or not we pick up some lower float inputs, we might be able to adjust this, but I figure we'll just start with this. Interestingly here, for instance, with the Wasteland Rebel, due to its float cap, we can actually use minimal inputs up to a float of 0.0955. So far, I have a short list for these 8 skins. So it's time to go onto a couple different sites and just have a look at what the cheapest listings are. So for instance, on CS Float, the cheapest Kraken at the required float is going to be $131. We go Kraken here. Okay, and there's actually none on any of these other sites at an appropriate float. So I'll just mark this price here for now. This is what I've found currently. Of course, it's likely that these listings will not be the same in a couple of weeks or whenever we're able to actually get enough money to do this trade up. However, if we need to buy 5 of these, and of course, you'd love to just buy 5 chameleons at $94, but there were not 5 listings all at that price. So realistically, we're going to have to buy a couple of different skins. Actually, if I add up the 5 cheapest ones, I think 94, 101, 103, 107, and then, yeah, a bunch around the 131, so it doesn't really matter. We're looking at about $540, so give or take, we need about $550 before we're going to be able to go for that blue gem trade up. We were able to make a solid $143 profit this episode, but we've still got a bit of progress to make before our final trade up. Be sure to subscribe for the next episode of this journey and take a look at one of these videos next. Thanks so much for watching and take care.